All right, let's talk about a movie that's been decades in the making. For one of cinema's absolute masters of monsters, Guillermo del Toro, this was the dream project. And now he's finally unleashing his vision of Frankenstein. So let's break down how this massive cinematic event is bringing a legendary tale back to life for a whole new generation. So you might be asking, why is another Frankenstein movie such a big deal? Well, to really get it, you've got to understand that we've been getting this story wrong for like a century. Mary Shelley's original novel, it was this deep, complex, philosophical tragedy. But for years, film adaptations have just completely missed the point, often flipping the story's core message right on its head. So that brings us to A Legend Reanimated. What's Del Toro's big plan to fix this long history of getting it wrong? Well, it's simple, really. He goes right back to the source material. Okay, so there is a huge difference between the monster we all think we know and the one Mary Shelley actually wrote. You know, that pop culture image, the green skin, the neck bolts, the grunting, that's almost all thanks to Boris Karloff's classic 1931 movie. But Shelley's original creature, totally different. He was intelligent, he was well-spoken, he was born innocent. He was a tragic figure who was just searching for love and companionship, not some mindless killing machine. And this is exactly the problem Guillermo del Toro set out to fix. His goal, in his own words, was to create a Miltonian tragedy. So what does that mean? Think big, think epic, kind of like Milton's Paradise Lost, a huge story about creation, rebellion, and a fallen angel. Del Toro wanted to bring back all that deep philosophical stuff and that heavy emotional weight that so many other movies just left out. Now we get to the director's dream project. And believe me, this was a 30-year obsession for him. This wasn't just another gig. In a lot of ways, Del Toro's own journey to get this film made started to look a whole lot like Victor Frankenstein's own obsessive quest. I mean, look at this timeline. It's wild. For well over a decade, this project lived, died, and was brought back from the dead again and again. It was all set to go at Universal, but then it got shelved. At one point, Del Toro even admitted he was scared to make it. He was worried he couldn't do his own vision justice. This thing was a true, honest-to-goodness labor of love and, yeah, obsession. So what does it finally take to bring a dream project like this to life after 30 years? Well, how about a massive vote of confidence and a whole lot of money? Netflix stepped up to the plate with a $120 million budget. That's the kind of backing that gives a director like Del Toro the freedom to build his world exactly how he sees it, with zero compromises. All right, the creature comes alive, reimagining an icon. So how did this epic vision finally make it to the screen? Well, it all had to start with the absolute heart of the story, the creature himself. And, you know, just like Victor Frankenstein's own chaotic experiment, making this movie had some serious behind-the-scenes drama. Get this. Andrew Garfield was originally cast as the creature. Del Toro and his team spent 9 months perfecting the look, but then scheduling conflicts forced Garfield to drop out. The team had just 9 weeks to completely redesign the entire creature for the new actor, Jacob Elordi, who's also a lot taller. Talk about pressure. The end result? Well, it's a huge departure from the classic movie monsters of the past. As The Guardian cheekily pointed out, Elordi's version is, well, it's a far cry from the creature we're used to. And this was a totally deliberate choice. See, by moving away from just pure physical horror, Del Toro forces us, the audience, to look for the real monster somewhere else. Not in how the creature looks, but in his actions. And maybe more importantly, in the actions of the people around him. And that really gets to the heart of what this film is. Del Toro wasn't trying to make a straight-up horror movie. He called it an incredibly emotional story. So think less about jump scares and more about that sweeping Gothic romanticism. It's a big, tragic, beautiful melodrama about fathers and sons and what it even means to be human. Okay, next up, a tale of two perspectives. And this might be the most powerful and the most faithful choice Del Toro made in the entire film, the way he decided to structure the story. The movie's structure is a perfect mirror of the book. First, we get the whole story from Victor Frankenstein's point of view, all his ambition, his genius, and then his horror and disgust. But then, partway through, we get this incredible shift. The creature himself takes over the story. He tells us what happened from his perspective. And this is huge because for the first time in a really big movie version, we get to truly hear his side of things.
And let me tell you, this narrative flip was a total game changer. As Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian put it, it's the lightning flash that jolts the movie into some semblance of life. It's perfect, right? By giving the creature a voice, Del Toro brings back all that moral ambiguity and empathy that was the beating heart of Mary Shelley's original novel.
So we come to the judgment of the critics. After a 30-year wait, the creation was finally unleashed upon the world. The big question is, how did everyone react?
Well, the reception was pretty darn great. We're talking an 86% positive score on Rotten Tomatoes. That's huge. Critics really embraced Del Toro's vision, celebrating just how ambitious and emotionally deep it was.
And when you dig into the reviews, you see the same things pop up again and again. Critics were raving about the monstrously beautiful look of the film, how it stayed true to the deep ideas in the book. And almost everyone agreed. Jacob Elordi's performance as the creature was powerful, vulnerable, and an absolute standout. Of course, with that kind of critical acclaim, the awards buzz wasn't far behind. It landed on the top 10 Films of the Year lists for both the American Film Institute and the National Board of Review. Then it racked up 5 Golden Globe nominations, including the big ones: Best Picture, Best Director for Del Toro, and acting nods for both Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi. Which brings us to the ultimate question, the one at the very center of this story. Who is the real monster? Because all of it, the incredible visuals, the powerful performances, the awards, it all leads back to this one haunting idea. See, Del Toro's movie doesn't just retell an old story. It's much smarter than that. It forces you to wrestle with the same tough moral questions that have been haunting this tale for over 200 years. So after you see it all play out, the creator's reckless ambition and the creature's terrible suffering, who is the true monster? Is it the creation, who was born innocent but was pushed to violence by being rejected and left all alone? Or is it the creator, the guy whose pride made him play God, only to abandon his own creation, his own child? That's the question the film leaves you chewing on, and that's exactly what makes this story timeless.